What up, y'all? I hope you're doing well. We're here for our Oracle manifestation reading for the week. We're taking a look at the week ahead to see what would behoove us to embody in regards to our manifestations. What should we do? What do we need more of? Right now, we have set your sights higher, increase your standards, and expect more for yourself. Don't settle. All week long in our pick a card readings that you can find, the shortened ones are on my YouTube shorts. So you can find those on my channel page under shorts. And those are cut off from the full reading on TikTok. So I would suggest go following me on TikTok at Liz_Taylor_Magick. And, catch the daily pick a cards. They're different content than what we're doing here on these nightly videos on our little late show. And so basically this week, the themes have been going right alongside the daily portions from the Zohar that I read. And so the Zohar is the deepest rabbinical commentary on the Old Testament. It's like all the metaphysical soul applications of the symbolic meaning of the Bible. And so every day of the year has an associated portion of the Zohar that matches the energy of the day and the week. And so like the book of the Bible that is associated with that week or the chapter or whatever. So anyway, I was catching up with the videos this week all today, and I realized that all of our daily pick-a-cards were paralleled with the themes of the, what was going on up in the ethers anyway. And so I thought that was really interesting. But the theme was about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone to be a vessel of sharing. So when you feel like you're in hard times and you're like, oh my gosh, I have nothing left to give. Like I cannot show up and help. I don't have any money to help out with. I don't have any time to do this. I don't have enough fill in the blank. That is usually the most powerful for you to share in that moment when you are feeling like you can't do it, when there's not enough. Pushing beyond your limitations in that moment breaks the flesh in the spirit of Eucharist. So there's a sacrifice made, and it's very powerful, and it releases so much more miraculous potential than, say, if you were doing something that came easy or you stopped before you were too tired. So basically, it reveals an even greater blessing, not only for you, but also for the person that you're sharing with. It just reveals so much more power in the whole situation at large. So again, in that theme, we don't want to settle in for our limited expectations of what we, are used to for ourselves in our comfort zone, right? Even when we up level, we don't want to get comfortable in the up level. We want to keep pushing ourselves against our growth edge, and we always want to be evolving. Even if we're not active participants in our own elevation, in our own evolution, in our own growth, the universe will do it for us. So think about like cycles of your life. If you are not in the driver's seat, these cycles will go run on autopilot. But basically, you'll be at a certain level, and you'll have challenges there. You'll be new at that level. And once you level out and find a comfort zone in that level, you will have stability for a while, and you will enjoy the fulfillment of stability until that stability begins to stagnate and plateau. And so then once that stability begins to stagnate at any given level, the universe sends some pressure, some turbulence, some discomfort. So there's reason to evolve once again past the discomfort into another level up, right? So we're continuing to up level. And so then when we get past that turbulence and we up level again, and we raise our consciousness and we deepen our strength, or we, whatever it applies to in the material world, it's like we stabilize again, and then it stagnates, right? And then we have to go deeper, right? So setting your sights higher, you can actually be proactive, and so that life won't throw you the lemons of instability and pressure to shake you up, to evolve you. If you proactively show up and you're always trying to push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of, when you think you are too tired to keep going, you find the strength to finish what you wanted to do, or, find the willpower to do it anyway. My teacher David had sat with some of the top CEOs in the world in the food game. They were having a mentor lunch, and he shared some of the tidbits that came from that meeting. And it wasn't a lot of practical, well, if you do this then you'll get these results. It was mindset stuff and consciousness things. And so one of the points that I remembered seeing was, if you think you can't go on any further and you're feeling tired and you're feeling burnout, it means the body's shutting down, and it means you're only you are depleted, you're 40% depleted or 60% depleted. And he's like, but that means you have another 40% left to use. So keep using that. It's when you feel like and that's a Kabbalistic mindset too. It's when you feel like you can't go any further, that's when you push yourself a little bit further, to stretch what you're capable of, right? To stretch your ability, to stretch your skill set. And so, when it comes to what we can receive for ourselves, right? It's when people get used to a certain level of income and they get a little bit of a raise, and they're like, oh, this is nice, this is great. And they don't realize that they could probably expand or scale or do something to make even more money. And it's say you had a gap where you could pick up more shifts, and it's oh, if I had picked up more shifts, I could make so much more money. And you're well, you're not even used to having the money that you have now. So it's you kind of settle for that little bit extra because you're not used to that. So it feels so much more. And it's well, you're capable of so much more, and it's not even going to cost you that much more effort or time. And it's sometimes we don't push ourselves because it's we don't expect much, or we're not asking for enough for ourselves. We're not pushing hard enough. We're not, and I don't want to sound too much like one of those people that's hustle every day and night, 36 days a week, 70 hours a day. I'm not that person. I love a work-life balance. I love having very intentionally spent free time, right? But there are ways that we can tweak what we're doing and make it more efficient, or make our efforts go further, or attempt things that scare us a little bit, that stretch us outside of our comfort zone. This doesn't mean always equal all your time and energy, right? Sometimes it's just taking a riskier, chance at something that you maybe intimidates you, right? But could be very successful. So, whatever it is you're asking for, say, you're used to a certain level of person that you date, and you are growing yourself, and you've been working on yourself, and you've been breaking old relationship patterns. And so then those same types keep presenting. It's no, you've got to think, you've got to become this new person, this new version of yourself. And so you're used to accepting, options that really you have outgrown. So this might be in, any different category in your life, right? Maybe you've been eating a bad diet and you want to be more intentional about the kinds of foods that you eat. Maybe, you want to spend more time devoted to something you want to learn that you've been wanting to try. And it's even the things that we want to do, we have to make time for them. Life just goes so fast these days, and it's we're stretched so thin. So even the things that we want to do, we have to really make an effort and set time aside to do that, or else our days will be just spent running around and doing everything, and then being exhausted, and then watching something on a streaming network. And then that's it. And then you go to bed and you're well, I guess I will think about the things that I want to do, and I will get all my energy from that, and I'll watch a show and vicariously live to these characters. And it's no, let's get our head in the game. Let's expect more for ourselves. But in order to get more for ourselves, we have to be intentional about where we're directing our focus, our energy, and our efforts, and make sure that they're all aligned with like what's really authentically like going to bring us true fulfillment and is in alignment with like our long-term goals and values, right? And not just looking outside and trying to keep up with the Joneses and just doing everything that everybody else is doing because you have FOMO or whatever. So we're increasing our standards, we're expecting more for ourselves, and we're not settling. And just before your manifestation comes through, the universe does send almost to test you with. It's like, oh, 8 out of 10 of the things that I wanted in this new career or job, home that I want to buy, apartment that I want to rent, neighborhood I want to live in, new person type of partner that I want to attract in. It's like they have 8 out of 10 of the things, but like 2 things are off, and they're, those are the deal breaker kinds of things and not the negotiables, but they're the non-negotiables. And that's a test. It's like you have to be willing to walk away and not settle for less than what's the things that are like truly important to you, that are in alignment with like your, in line with your core needs and things. Like the thing has to be there. So don't settle for less than that. But also like realize the things that you are flexible on, right? You don't want to be overly rigid either. Okay, what else do we need to know for our manifestations this week? So we are maybe, expanding our vision, getting outside of our comfort zone, starting to think a little bit wider and thinking about more opportunities, staying optimistic. Your dreams are coming true. Don't quit right before the miracle occurs. Okay. So what we were just talking about, like the universe will test you with like almost, but not quite right before the manifestation comes through. That, according to Be Magnetic, they call that the magic dark. In Kabbalah, that is called creation phase 3. And so that time period where it's like you are definitely showing up, you're practicing like faith and certainty, you're facing fears, you're healing old wounds, you're rewriting your neural pathways, you're changing your perspectives, you're healing subconscious things, you're following your divine guidance, you're saying no to the things that aren't right for you, you're walking away from things that are not working anymore, you're clearing space. And it's like, you're like, everything that I'm doing, like I'm doing all the right things. Why isn't it coming through? And so that is the initiation. That's the test to make sure that you will maintain your faith beyond reason, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Even though you can't see it yet, you have to believe before you see it. And so the universe is testing to see if you are going to settle. And so you have to stay optimistic. You have to believe that this is all coming together. And it really is. And so many times people quit right before it comes through. And so I've been feeling this. I've been feeling the pressure of potential pushing up against like the edge of reality. And it just feels like something is going to break through. Big opportunities are going to start popping off. I just feel it. And so we have to make sure not only to continue to be consistent in showing up for our dreams and goals, but we have to keep our focus and our heart in it. We can't like let our focus dissipate and like get on autopilot, because then we lose the juice that like fuels like the magic in whatever you're creating. So you have to keep your intention, your focus, your excitement in, and you have to stay connected and like passionate. It's like if I'm talking to a table and it's like on a really busy night and I've already featured to 1 million people and I'm like featuring to a table and like something like I start thinking about something else going on at another table. I'm like, oh, did I do that? And then I start going off onto autopilot. And I can, even though I'm physically saying the words still, when I check out and my soul has left my body and it's thinking about something else, I can tell I'm losing everybody else too. So it's like, I've got to be in it. I've got to be engaged. Even if I'm physically, it looks like I'm there. I gotta have my heart in it. You gotta keep your heart in it. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what calls in what you're putting out in the with your intention and your vision and your words. Staying optimistic. Okay, what else? We're gonna grab 2 more cards. What do we need to know for the week to come? That's feeling, accept heaven's help. You've prayed for help, so get out of the way and let heaven help you. So it's so easy to forget to ask for heaven's help, to ask for guidance, to ask for direction, to ask for strength and certainty. We forget. And so heaven doesn't interfere because we have free will. And so it's up to us to ask for heaven's help, to ask for guidance, to ask for strength, to ask for wisdom and courage and certainty. So remember to use prayer. It's such a powerful tool. It's such a powerful tool that can give you such an edge, and it can also give you such a sense of peace and serenity and feeling like you can offload your stress. So it actually can be a very fun practice, especially when you start getting excited about telling Creator about the things that you're excited about in your day and things like that. So praying and praying out loud are very powerful. I also will go through practices where I will write my prayers out in a journal, and that's also very powerful because you're taking a physical step towards bringing something from nothing, right? It's like bringing inspiration into like words and that, are forms, and then, putting that on paper, that's even more material. So being able to speak something into existence, that's speaking gives us affinity with the Creator. The Creator used sound, spoken word to bring forth the light. The Big Bang, if you think about that, had a cataclysmic, resounding boom, probably a sound that sent sound waves through the void, through the becoming universe that would be. And so that is like the let there be light moment. That first event was an audio event. It was a sound. So speaking is very powerful. Also, once we've prayed, it's like we have to then get out of the way and stop controlling, stop forcing things to be the way that we want. We have to listen and be able to receive guidance and then follow up on it and follow through. And if things are moving away or things are changing, it's like, don't hang on for dear life to keep everything the same, because it could be in the change that your prayers are getting answered. So once you have prayed, trust that help is on the way. It may not look like what you want it to or think it's going to look like. So be careful not to get in the way of heaven trying to help you, but believe heaven's help is there. Oh, and also, so the incorrect way to pray is to pray that your situation isn't what it is. The incorrect way to pray is not to pray that someone else will change the way they are or how they feel. Because first of all, you're not accepting the present moment for what it is. And whatever the present moment is giving you, it's like the Creator has allowed that or ordained that in some way, and there's some reason and something that you need to find and receive from navigating through that scenario. So we do not pray to change someone else because they have free will, and we have to respect their free will and their individuality and their own process also. So the way that is most powerful to pray is to pray for strength to get through the situation with grace and with serenity and peace. We pray for courage. We pray for the ability to actually practice the wisdom. We pray for wisdom. We pray for guidance, but we pray for the strength to actually embody the wisdom to do what we know we need to. So, we're praying to strengthen our own vessel and to strengthen our own grit and our own faith and to strengthen our own clarity and our own certainty. But we're not praying to change someone else. If they have severe problems, it's like we can pray for the Creator, to comfort them, to help heal them, if God willing. But we have to accept that sometimes the circumstances that we find our own selves in, we find other people in. Sometimes that's part of their process. And so we can't change God, right? Trying to pray that we're going to change the situation or change someone else. That's like, hey, God, can you change what you're doing to make it more palatable for me? I wasn't really like, into this vibe right now. So can you change what you had in store for your plan? Just because I don't understand what's happening. So, so that's kind of futile. So what we want to do is pray for strength, pray to be more in affinity with the Creator. And that way we'll harmonize with things in our life and we'll draw things in that are in alignment with like what's truly in store for us and what's truly meant for us. Everything that's meant for us in this life is already set aside in like a spiritual storehouse. And so we only really want what is actually meant for us. And that is all going to come to us in the right timing when we have prepared the vessel to receive it. And when whatever we're receiving won't ruin us or we won't ruin it, but we can maintain and sustain that fulfillment. So we can even get something that's meant to be for us, but if it's in the wrong time, then it's not right at that moment. The root word of evil is unripe. So it's like even in a wrong time, it's just not going to be right. It's not going to yield a desirable flavor. It will yield chaos. And so same for if we start to covet something that's not really meant for us. Like say we want a job and we're getting like super competitive and controlling about getting it. And whatever we did, it's like we managed to get this certain opportunity, but really it was kind of meant for somebody else. And it's just we bullied, energetically our way into getting it. It's like that job will only ever provide chaos. And it will only ever be like super fulfilling and like will really work out for like the one person it was supposed to be for. And for you, it's like that job will never be satisfying. Same with like partners, like romantic partners. If someone's not meant to be for you and it's like you force it anyway, it's going to be a chaotic, unfulfilling relationship. It's not going to go well. But like for a person, two people who are like really meant to be together and it's the right time, it's like they can, meet challenges and get through them together. It's like whatever happens, it's like they're gonna be supported by the universe, and things will be fine. So, say you want to make a bunch of extra money and you figure out a way to do it, but you weren't meant to have that money. It wasn't in the cards for you in that moment. Then something will happen where you'll have an unexpected expense come up and you'll have to pay for that. And so it'll balance back out anyway. So as we learn to accept those kinds of things and we pray that we get what we're supposed to receive, we pray that for what God has in store for us. And in the meantime, pray that we become more healed and more strong and more conscious and more courageous. And we become the vessel that we need to become in order to merit the blessings that we are going to align with, right? It's like in order to align with those blessings that are set aside for us, it's like we have to vibrationally raise our frequency in order to meet them. That's earning that blessing. That's earning the light. It's earning without causing spiritual credit and interest. Taking something before you've earned it is you're going to pay for it either way, right? There's no free lunches in this life. Okay. One last card. It is this one. Positive energy. Surround yourself with positive people and situations. Avoid negativity. There's this saying, loose lips sink ships, and that is always applicable to your manifestation. If you're going to talk about it out loud to the Creator and to yourself, but don't talk about it to anybody else, because Debbie Downer and naysayer Nancy are going to be running around the corner telling you how it's not going to work out, how it's impractical, or, like people just, they have their reasons. Also, when you talk about something, an idea, and you're getting all this energy from being excited about it, but you don't follow through or you have no intention of following through, that is taking energy that's going to cost. It's like spending energy on a credit card that you're going to have to pay interest on, right? And so unless you are, ready to start following up and putting your money where your mouth is and putting effort in, it's what's called leaving empty vessels, and empty vessels collect chaos. And so always be mindful to err on the side of not talking about your idea a lot, and only share it with people who have a positive, optimistic mindset. And also the fact that like you become the 5 people that you're around the most. So be sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who you want to be more like you want to have, you want to connect with their energy, and you want to take on attributes like them. And I know that we all have like people around us that we maybe don't necessarily want to take on their attributes, but they're around us in our environment anyway. And so I would say in those scenarios, just focus more on the people who you want to connect with their energy, and the people who you don't want to connect with their energy, then just take your focus off of them, and, create some sort of like light barrier around you when you go out and about, so that it's like only love may enter, and only what is in affinity with your highest good and your future highest good may enter. All right. Let's see. I will look at this card because it jumped out. Father healing. Your personal power increases as you give any father-related issues to heaven. So mother healing had been a big theme recently. I feel like we're always just oscillating between them. But father healing, when our father wound it affects the way that we show up in our behavior in the world. Our mother wound affects how we feel about ourselves. And so it affects what we are able to receive. But our father healing affects the masculine energy, what we give, what we share, our outer expression, what we do, how we take action. So if you have motivation issues or problems focusing your energy in the right way and putting your efforts in the right way and things like that, or having shiny object syndrome where you're like, oh, I want to do this. Now I want to do this and I want to do this, especially with dating. Like, oh, I want to date this person. Now I don't like them. I want to date this person. Oh, I'm non-committal. It's like that player energy. I've discovered I believe, according to these messages, recent experiences, long-term observations of patterns, I feel that I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, that father wounds they give you scattered attention span when it comes to things that you're devoted to committing to. So like shiny object syndrome, following glittery objects, not wanting to be committed or devoted to a cause or a project or a person or what have you. I feel like that's connected to father healing. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, whatever it is when you're watching this. And good luck with your manifestations this week. Stay optimistic. Set your sights higher for yourself. Reach further than you think that you can, and ask for more than you even are now. Positive energy. Surround yourself with positive people and avoid negativity. And then accept heaven's help. You've prayed for help, so get out of the way and let heaven help you. And ask for heaven's help in healing those father issues as well. All right, ciao.